Welcome to this week's special edition of Western Perspective. I'm Taylor Hanna. After months of talk and rumours, two of the world's most notorious leaders finally agreed to a summit. The hope of denuclearising the Korean Peninsula was at the forefront. However, it is still unknown if the pair will follow through on their promised agreements. We'll have the expert analysis in a moment, but first a background story. A friendly handshake before getting down to business in the world's most anticipated leaders meeting in the 21st century. US President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un only came together in Singapore for a short period of time, signing declarations including improving relations and working to denuclearization.
Chairman Kim was honest, direct and productive. We got to know each other well in a very confined period of time, under very strong circumstance. We're prepared to start a new history, and we're ready to write a new chapter between our nations.
But for the world, the journey has been long and bumpy, with the constant threat of nuclear conflict. The road to Singapore began in the middle of 2017, when North Korea was repeatedly testing intercontinental ballistic missiles. President Donald Trump responded to the tests, warning North Korea's actions would not be tolerated. The conflict escalated with a war of words on social media between the two nations. Conflict has since cooled considerably, with the tide changing dramatically, especially before the Winter Olympics, following high-level talks between North and South Korean leaders. Those talks began an improvement to the diplomatic climate, but diplomacy between the US and North Korea was still an uncertainty. A meeting was agreed to by both nations, but saw a rocky path with threats and cancellations by both sides before Donald Trump said on June 1st that it would happen. The Singapore meeting begins the start of a new chapter, but the world will have to wait and see if it will be for better or for worse. And for an analysis behind the Trump and Kim meeting, we were joined by political expert Dr. Ian Cook, where he shared his insight.
Well, I think so far it's been something that's really worked for Kim Jong-un because it's legitimised his leadership, it's put him on the world stage, and so far, I guess we're seeing most of the benefits coming to him. If they get a denuclearisation on the peninsula, then obviously Donald Trump and the US can start talking about their success.
What sort of strategies have both leaders played before the meeting, in your opinion? Well,
Donald Trump has gone in as he does as sort of business deal maker, as a person who shakes hands, presses flesh, negotiates one-on-one, and he's sort of kept that up. Kim Jong-un presenting himself as a sort of world leader, as someone being taken seriously on the international stage, and so he's playing this very much back to his audience as saying, look, your leader's meeting with the most powerful government so far in the world, and they're taking us seriously, which I think is a really important step for him.
Do you believe that the meeting has made Australia safer from a potential nuclear threat after this meeting?
I think I've always had doubts about exactly what nuclear capacity North Korea has got and whether the missiles they've been testing really can reach Australia. I think that it is progress. We can't just sort of turn around and go, nothing's happened here. Something has happened here. We have to see exactly how it plays out. We're not exactly sure what it's going to mean in terms of world peace and world security. Australia is seen to be a US ally, so, if there are troubles with the US, then Australia is, bound up in that whole package, and so we want to see good relations between North Korea and the US.
Do you think that Hillary Clinton would have had the ability to achieve what Donald Trump has in this meeting?
I don't think Hillary Clinton would have had this meeting. I don't think, first of all, she would have pushed it in terms of the sort of fire and fury type language and increased sanctions and created a sort of the discord that perhaps has, helped create this environment. She's also a much more careful player on an international level, and she would have listened to people saying, you can't trust Kim, you can't go into this sort of negotiation, you can't have a discussion, you can't legitimise his regime. So I think she would have been very much hamstrung by sort of business as usual foreign relations on the part of the US.
Is it going to be a happily ever after, and will there be peace given Kim Jong-un's volatility?
We want to be hopeful. I want to be hopeful. I want to see this as giving us opportunities. I mean, it's still a problem in terms of the North Korean regime. I think we've got to not forget the fact that it's highly oppressive. It's not the sort of government we want to see persist. But on the other hand, we don't want to stir things up so we have armed conflict, and that's what we might get.
And that's all we have for this week. We'll see you next time. But for now, it's back to you, Ivan and Danielle.
Taylor, thank you very much. This week's main news again. Indigenous youth suicides are at an epidemic, with 12 Aboriginal youths taking their lives in WA in the past 8 months. Narromaya CEO Mervyn says alcohol and drug addiction, particularly ice, is the main cause. And he's calling for an Indigenous sensitive rehab centre to curb suicides.
And that's our weekly news and current affairs. For all the latest happenings, you can visit our website and Facebook page.
From Daniel, myself and the rest of the team until 8 o'clock next Sunday, a very good evening to you.
Good night.